The Honorable Chief Judge and the judges of the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. You could do better than that. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right. It's an honor to welcome everyone to this very special occasion. This morning, we honor and celebrate 3 essay winners, their parents, teachers, and school officials from our district who competed in the Courts of Appeals, Courts in the Community's essay contest about what the rule of law means to me. So let us extend you a warm welcome to the students, the parents, school officials present with the 5th grade class winner from the William Penn Charter School, the 6th grade class from the Baldwin School, and the 5th grade class from Marion Elementary School. Let's give you a big round of applause. And congratulations to all the schools that are listed in the program on the left-hand side of the program who participated in the 2022 essay contest. This is really an important initiative for our judges. This is the reason why we are here with you and for you. And as you noted, we have a lot of my colleagues, and it is really an honor and a privilege for me to introduce the members of our court to the winners, their parents, and the school officials who are here supporting you. So I'm going to take a brief minute and introduce my colleagues. And I'm going to introduce them from my left, which is your right, to my right. On the far left is United States Magistrate Judge Scott Reed, followed by United States District Judge Karen Marston,
Hey.
Followed by United States District Judge Mark Kearney, and followed by United States District Judge Cynthia Roof. I'm Chief Judge Juan R. Sanchez. To my right is United States District Judge Barclay Zurich, United States District Judge Jean Prater,
Good morning, everybody.
United States District Judge Yan Young,
Good morning.
Magistrate Judge Richard Lorette,
Good morning.
and I think we have on the far right my colleague, United States District Judge John Padova.
Great having you here, really, great.
Right. Immediately to my back, we have United States Magistrate Judge Pam Carlos.
Good morning, everyone.
She's looking at the back of my hair. And next to her is Bankruptcy Judge Pam Myers. So welcome, everyone. And we are delighted to be here with you and for you. And with that, I'm going to proceed to invite my colleague and chair of the Community Outreach Program for some comments. Judge Kearney.
Thank you, Chief, and welcome. I've had the privilege of working with your teachers over the past several months, and I just wanted to tell you how this came about for 1 second. So this is a district court. The judge is here before you. That's a trial court. But this project came from our Court of Appeals. They're the persons who review our work. And when somebody's unhappy with the decision that we make, they can take their case there. That's a court of appeals, and they're in the same building. And the Court of Appeals, through then Chief Judge Brooke Smith, and our colleague Judge Rendell, who's here today. Thank you, Judge Rendell. And Circuit Executive Margaret Wiegand is here as well. Thank you, Margaret. Along with the new chief, Judge Mike Chigaris, arranged, along with the guidance of Judge Cynthia Roof to my right, for a program to ask classes to provide essays. Judge Roof and I, and Judge Young and others, had the privilege last week of being in with Justice Stephen Breyer. And Justice Breyer said something to Judge Roof and I and others, Judge Young, that was really fascinating about civics education. And he talked about teaching in classes, that it involves a certain collaboration, that you have to talk to each other. You have to communicate with each other. And to that credit, I give Judge Rendell and Judge Roof, who stood firmly with the idea this is a class-wide project. And your efforts are rewarded today. The project began on Martin Luther King, a perfect feast day, a perfect holiday. And you, on literally a turn, provided essays to us 2 months later. Thank you very much. We received about 27 essays from classes. Some of them came from South Jersey. We're going to help them with their geography classes. A couple of them. And we sent them to our friends in New Jersey. Several schools sent a couple classes. So you look here on the classes, a couple of them had a couple classes participate. We're very appreciative of that. We then received them all, and they were excellent. Across the board, they were excellent. And I was able to cajole my colleagues, Judge John Gallagher, who sits in Allentown, Judge Scott Reed to my left, and Judge Patricia Mayer above me on my right, along with the two distinguished lawyers before you, to review your essays, to mark them up. And we had a grid, and we went through a whole process of evaluating them. And they were well done. I think I saw in about 26 essays about 1 or 2 typographical errors. My colleagues and I will assure you there are more typographical errors in most lawyers' briefs than you provided to us. Really well done. And to the teachers and educators and administrators, thank you very much for the excellence you presented from our district. Those essays were then reviewed and collated and studied, and we came up with 3 selections. I will tell you that it was a close number. It was very close, which is why we're honoring 3. We could easily be honoring 7, to be honest, because they were that close. So congratulations to you. I'm now going to turn it over, because what you wrote about with what the Laurel Law means to me was fascinating. But we also have somebody new with us. We have a new judge that joined us. And her name is Judge Pamela Carlos. Judge Carlos works out of our Reading Courthouse. Those of you who know, this is Philadelphia. Right across the street is where the framers drafted and worked on the Constitution. But we also have a courthouse in Reading, a courthouse in Allentown, and a courthouse in Easton, Pennsylvania. Judge Carlos is a judge that sits all over the district, but her office, or what we call chambers, a fancy word, but chambers, is in Reading. On Allentown. I'm sorry, Judge Mayer's in Reading. I just switched her. I just moved her over. The geography lesson. That's what happens when you say that. Exactly right. Exactly right. So I'm going to ask Judge Carlos now if she would provide her thoughts on what the rule of law means to me. But unlike us to you, Unfortunately, you don't get to grade what Judge Carlos tells us. But I think we all learned quite a bit. Judge Carlos?
Thank you, Judge Kearney. Good morning, everybody. May it please the court, students, parents, teachers, friends, and family. First of all, it's been a great honor to be asked to speak to you today. I'm guessing that the average age of the contest participants is between probably 10 and 11 years old. Your essays were great, and you should be very proud of work that was very well done. Today, I've been asked to tell you what the rule of law means to me. And in considering the topic, it occurred to me that what the rule of law means to me has evolved over my lifetime. Being born in 1965, don't do the math yet, I grew up in an age without, believe it or not, cell phones, Wi-Fi, or TikTok. My first recollection, however, of the rule of law came from watching from watching TV when I was about your age, after school. There was a popular TV campaign called School of Rock, and it was short cartoons all set to music that were about the length of a commercial, and they were designed to educate kids about things like science, grammar, history, etc. Well, they must have made an impression upon me because for reasons that I still don't understand, they caused me to memorize the Constitution's preamble. And as we all know, the Constitution was written more than 200 years ago to establish what the United States intended the government to be. Now, I am going to spare you me singing this particular song. However, trust me, it has to play in my head or I don't remember the words. And the words went something like this. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and ensure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. My next recollection of what the rule of law meant to me came right with my first job after law school. I worked as an assistant district attorney here in Philadelphia. And at that time, your initial criminal proceedings would take place in the actual police stations located in the 21 districts scattered throughout this city. As part of my regular job duties, I had to travel to more than half of those districts every day. And for the first time in my life, I got to see things I had never witnessed before. And what do I mean by that? I mean people for whom basic needs such as food and shelter were a struggle. People for whom drugs, guns, and violence were unfortunately an everyday occurrence. As an ADA, my job was to prosecute people for failing to abide by the rule of law. What I also learned, and this was regardless of whether they did a terrible crime or something as innocent as breaking into somebody else's property just to seek shelter. But what I learned was that a person who could be accused of a crime one day could be the victim of a crime the very next. More often than not, I met my witnesses and prepared them to testify while they were in jail for unrelated reasons. While it struck me as odd, what it led me to understand and appreciate was that everybody is entitled to be treated the same, and everybody is entitled to be safe and protected. After I left the DA's office, I became what's called a civil or non-criminal attorney, and I did that for about 20 years. And during that time, I met a lot of people. I argued and tried and won and lost a lot of cases. As a civil attorney, your job is to persuade the judges and the jury to find a case in your client's favor. And you do that by knowing and understanding and applying the law and arguing for it to be interpreted the way you want it to be. Now, while I didn't always like the judge's decisions, and I didn't always like what the jury's verdicts were, I understood and fundamentally respected the fact that they had a job to do, and I learned not to take those decisions personally. So today, May 10th, 2022, it has been 5 months and 10 days, or 4,296 hours, but hey, who's counting, since I was sworn in as a magistrate judge. It's been 30 years or more since I became a lawyer, and 40 years or more since I heard that School of Rock song. So, what has the rule of law come to mean to me? When I was 10, the rule of law came to mean to me the way that the government intended to affect the mission statement or the Constitution's preamble that I still have in my head. At 24, I learned that the rule of law meant that it was hard to enforce. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. And at 57, as a judge, I understand that it's my duty and commitment to do the very, very best that I can to apply the rule of law to everybody. Honestly, consistently, regardless of my own beliefs or anybody else's experiences, circumstances, opinions, or beliefs. Thank you.
Excellent, Judge Carlos. Thank you very much. The only way this comes together is the help of lawyers. Judges can do certain things, but they can't do it without the help of bar associations. And bar associations are organizations that lawyers join, just like you join a team or a play. And bar associations are joined by lawyers, and they have leaders. We are blessed today that so many leaders here with us. Off to your right and my left are leaders from out the eastern Pennsylvania. To the front row is President Kathleen Wilkinson of the Pennsylvania Bar. President Wilkinson is a former teacher. Behind her is the next president of the Pennsylvania Bar, Jay Silverblatt. Jay becomes the president later this week, I understand. And with them are other members, the distinguished members of our district, the 9 counties in our district. I'm next going to introduce the 2 women who were principally responsible with us to bring this to happen. Judges Padova and Ruth and our courts community were instrumental inside the court, but outside the court, it was attorneys Nancy Conrad and Lisa Shearman. They're going to be able to present you the awards. By way of introduction, Nancy Conrad herself is a former teacher. She is a partner in a law firm. That means, ladies and gentlemen, that she has achieved at such a level that the people who she works with want to be her partner. That means she does really good work. Her partners, her colleagues, her clients believe she does good work. And what's interesting is she happens to represent, to a large extent, schools. So she sees a lot of this. Not this. Sometimes the other side of this. Ms. Conrad, Attorney Conrad, is also the incoming president of the Lehigh County Bar Association, which is in Allentown. Now I know where it is. And this week, along with Mr. Silverblatt, she will become the vice president. Mr. Silverblatt becomes the president. Ms. Conrad, as I understand, becomes the vice president of the Pennsylvania Bar Association, some 30,000 plus lawyers in Pennsylvania. So welcome, Ms. Conrad. In addition, and a little bit of home cooking for me, is I have Lisa Shearman from Montgomery County. Lisa taught civics with me under Judge Rendell and Mr. Travakis' program in the 6th grades in Montgomery County for 10 years. I know how good a teacher Ms. Shearman is. She covered me every week. Ms. Shearman is a partner in a law firm in Montgomery County, Amberg Rubin, Mullen, Maxwell, and Lupin. She practices in an area that involves the opposite of you in many ways. She helps people toward the ends of their lives, as they prepare for the end of their lives, and as their families deal with their passing, and with businesses. She doesn't see many courtrooms, but she also has a great appreciation for the rule of law. And I know that from teaching with her for all those years. She will also be, and is now, the the vice president of the Montgomery Bar Association, which is 2,200 lawyers. Those of you, at least from the Baldwin School, are in Montgomery County. And Ms. Shearman is your vice president of your lawyers. The president of the lawyers in Montgomery County is here as well. So anyway, I'm going to call up Ms. Conrad and Ms. Shearman. Ms. Shearman first, if you come forward and introduce our finalists for the essay contest.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, Chief Judge Sanchez, Circuit Judges Rendell and Restrepo, members of the court, distinguished guests, our award recipients, students, friends, family, and all others in attendance. My name is Lisa Shearman, and I'm here to present the finalists in the essay contest. The first school that will be receiving their award is the Baldwin School. And I'd like to welcome Dr. Shauna Carter, who is the head of school, and Lisa Emerson, hoping I'm saying that correctly. I'd also like to welcome the Baldwin School, who is participating through the YouTube link today. So welcome to everyone who's here virtually as well as in person. The Baldwin School is a private girls' school in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, founded in 1988 by Florence Baldwin. It's a very well-respected and renowned school, and we're very happy to have you as one of our finalists. So if I could ask Dr. Shauna Carter and Lisa Emerson, if you could come up and introduce your student who's going to be reading the essay that was one of our finalists. Congratulations. You're going to do the introduction? Okay, great.
I think I'm supposed to say, if it please the court. Thank you. Good morning. I'm delighted to be here today to honor and celebrate our student, Emma Jean. Emma is currently a 6th grade student at the Baldwin School in Bryn Mawr, although she's also what we call a lifer, meaning she's been with us since pre-K. When I heard that Emma had made the decision to write her essay, working independently on the topic, What the Rule of Law Means to Me, I was incredibly proud of her. When I read her essay, I was not surprised to see how thoughtful it was, because I know Emma is an avid reader and an active class participant at school. She likes to engage with ideas in a meaningful way. When I asked some of her other teachers what stands out for them about Emma, one said, quote, "She always helps others in the class, wanting everyone to find success." Another said, quote, "She loves to contribute her insights during discussions and also has a talent for asking meaningful questions." As you will see shortly, her essay lets us know that, quote, "No one is above the law," and that our laws are designed to protect the people, especially those who might suffer due to a disadvantage of some kind. As a true scholar, Emma also referenced our law's origins in ancient Greek ideas. Please join me in congratulating Emma Jean for her excellent, excellent essay.
The rule of law is freedom and justice for all. It has 4 main concepts. The government is bound by the law must come from the people, the law must be publicly known, and the law protects the rights of the minority. The rule of law originates in ancient Greece, when the famous philosopher Aristotle wrote his book, Politics. He asked whether it is best to be ruled by a good leader or good laws. Aristotle concludes that laws are more valuable to society than leaders because they can be applied over time to many situations. Rule of law and its four main concepts have ancient origins and are still essential for civilization. An essential part of this rule of law is that no one is above the law, including the government, and that the laws are applied equally to everyone. In the courts, every case is treated equally. The people in the case's gender, race, and ethnicity do not affect the application of the law. For example, when judges are sworn into the court, they must promise to treat people equally and fairly in their cases. Wealth, race, and ethnicity do not matter in the rule of law, and everyone must follow the law. Rule of law also protects the minority. The First Amendment to the Constitution gives everyone fundamental rights, including freedom of speech, press, and religion. This ensures that the majority cannot deprive the minority of their fundamental rights. Through this amendment, the minority is protected. Without the protection of the minority rights, the minority would be overshadowed, and the majority would decide the laws. Thirdly, the rule of law makes sure that the law represents the desires of the citizens. The government officials who create laws are elected by the people. This ensures that the laws are reasonable and wanted. For example, Congress is elected and makes the laws. Through this representative government, the people's voices are heard and their needs are reflected. Without election laws, leaders would be able to make laws that benefited them, not the people. Lastly, the rule of law states that the law must be publicly known. Citizens should know their charges, rights, and privileges. Without public law, people would be charged with breaking laws that they had never heard of before. This part of the rule of law ensures that citizens know laws so that they can follow and be held accountable to them. The publicity of laws and the judicial system is critical in society. The rule of law gives fairness, peace, and accountability to the law. It is a public and reliable system in which rule breakers are punished, and it protects freedoms. It marks the fine line between expressing rights and hurting others. It allows freedoms but prevents the breaking of the law. The rule of law means that nobody is above the law and the minority is protected. Through these four concepts, the rule of law is essential to a successful civilization.
Ms. Sherman, I'm going to take a point of privilege, and I know one of my colleagues is beaming with pride to my right. Judge Prater, if I understand it correctly, Judge, you sit on the board of the Baldwin School?
I do, but I had nothing to do with the conversation. I will say Ms. Amiason was one of the teachers of my daughter, when both of them very young, of course. Yeah. And I would just say that it is terrific to see all of the students here. But I think our students' mom and dad ought to stand up for a little bit of appreciation. I think they're good. Thank you, Judge Carney.
Thank you, Judge.
I did like that opportunity.
Well, I just have to say that was excellently read, so thank you very much. You're making my job much harder. Our next finalist is Marion Elementary School, and I'd like to welcome Mrs. Freelander, who is also the wife of a good friend of ours from the Bar Association, who heads the 5th grade class of Marion Elementary, who submitted the one of our essays, who was one of our finalists. Marion Elementary is a Blue Ribbon Award-winning school, and the 5th grade class is here in full, and as I'm told from Mrs. Freelander, they have elected to come here today instead of going on their field trip to Camp America. Wow. So I think that does say quite a lot. I'd also like to recognize that they are the winner of the Citizenship Challenge from the Riddell Center also this year. So they've got quite the awards. So if I could invite Mrs. Freelander to come up and introduce the student who'll be reading the essay. Congratulations.
Good morning, Your Honors. On behalf of my class, I would like to thank you for this amazing opportunity to write an essay on such an important topic. This is a wonderful learning experience for my class, and we look forward to participating in next year's contest. Participating in this contest helps my students realize the importance of our Constitution. Don't be surprised if in 20 years many of them are before this court. I would now like to introduce the students who are rereading our class essay, Claire Underwood and Sophie Ray.
The beliefs of the Founding Fathers are stated in our Constitution. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. The principles that our country was founded on are best exemplified in the rule of law and are a crucial component of our democracy. The rule of law impacts every American because it represents safety, trust, and equality. Without it, our lives would be significantly different. For a free society to be successful, its citizens must know what the rules are, understand what they mean, and know the consequences if the rules are broken. The rule of law ensures that citizens of the United States can go out in public without fear of discrimination, theft, or abuse. The rule of law enables our democracy, courts, and each person in our nation to function with confidence that no person is above the law and everyone has access to equal justice.
The rule of law impacts every aspect of our lives. It provides assurance to some, safety to others, and represents equality for all. It provides us with assurance that when we cross the street, there are traffic laws that we all agree to follow. When we buy our food, there are laws that protect our safety, and when we go to school, we are treated equally. Why is this so important? The rules that everyone must follow preserve and safeguard our way of life. During the pandemic, rules were made for mask mandates and vaccination guidelines, which were enforced to ensure public health. The 14th Amendment was established to protect citizens' rights and equal protection of the laws. In Brown v. Board of Education, the court ruled that schools could not discriminate based on the color of your skin and that separate was not equal. These examples demonstrate that without the rule of law, chaos and injustice can arise. We need the rule of law to protect each and every student in our schools.
In our country, the rule of law stipulates that no person is above law and every citizen has the right to equal justice. Equal justice is available when our laws are predictable, consistent, stable, and just. Without this fundamental principle, the government would have all the power, people would be taken advantage of, and our country would crumble into anarchy. The rule of law protects our freedom and ensures that we have a functional, productive society, a court system that maintains order, and that everyone is treated equally. At the heart of the rule of law is the ability of our country to function as a vibrant democracy where Americans have rights and privileges and where legal order prevails. John Adams once described a republic as a government of laws and not as men. This is the great promise of the rule of law under our Constitution. Each citizen is judged and held accountable to the same rules. The courts ensure that the rules are followed and there are consequences for those who violate the law. The ideal that all citizens are treated equally is the bedrock of our democracy. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote in his letter from Birmingham jail, but more basically, I am in Birmingham because injustice is here. King fought so that everyone would be treated fairly by the law. The belief that everyone gets fair treatment in the courts is best represented in the United States v. Nixon. The president received the same treatment under law that any citizen could accept and was held accountable for his actions. We are a country where the rule of law protects our basic ideal that no man is above the law and everyone should be treated fairly and equally.
The rule of law is an exceptionally powerful ideal that is a treasure to our country and is a keystone to our democracy. Our free and independent courts are the envy of other countries because of the protections that are offered our citizens as outlined in our Constitution. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "No man is above the law, and no man is below it, nor do we ask any man's permission when we ask him to obey it." He strongly believed that the rule of law meant that citizens be treated equally and fairly. Our class believes that the rule of law is what makes our nation the envy of countries around the world. We concur with Justice Sonia Sotomayor when she said, "I firmly believe in the rule of law as a foundation for all of our basic rights."
Thank you very much, class. Very well done. I wanted to recognize there are judges here, and then there are persons who work with judges. And off to your left and my right is our clerk of court, Kate Barkman. Ms. Barkman is an attorney that makes sure that we keep the court moving forward, and we're very appreciative of Ms. Barkman's service. Thank you. To her right is the United States Marshal. You probably have heard that name before, right? The United States Marshal. The United States Marshal serves the United States courts, and he sits here in Philadelphia. So thank you, Art, for being here today. I'm now going to call upon Nancy Conrad to present the winner award in the essay contest for the United States Court of Appeals for the Eastern District.
Good morning, and may it please the court. Chief Judge Sanchez, Circuit Judges Rendell and Restrepo, members of the court, distinguished guests, students, teachers, administrators, family, and friends. It's an honor to be here today. And on behalf of the attorneys across our district, I want to thank the court for bringing civic education back to the classroom. As a former teacher, I want to assure you of the importance that we start in the classroom to develop the understanding of the rule of law and what it means to be a good citizen. It is my honor to recognize the winning essay and the class that submitted it, the 5th grade class of the William Penn Charter School. The William Penn Charter School is located in the East Falls section of Philadelphia and has been in continuous operation for over 300 years since its founding in 1689. The school proudly traces its origin and its name to William Penn, who knew that the success of the colony was to have educated citizens. Today, the school's vision is educating students to live lives that make a difference. With us today is Ms. Marcy Sosa, director of the lower school. Ms. Sosa will introduce the students, the essay, and the winning essay from Penn Charter. And we note that the head of school, Daryl Ford, and the entire class is watching over YouTube. Ms. Sosa and students.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you.
Good morning.
It is, I have to say, such a pleasure to be here and share this space with all of these children. And I want to acknowledge that moment and all their hard work. I am Marcy Sosa. I'm the director of the lower school at the William Penn Charter School. And it brings me great joy to introduce Ava Demars Pereng, who has been in our Penn Charter community since kindergarten, also who we consider a lifer. Ava first discovered her love of writing in kindergarten, and she carried that love of writing with her throughout the many years in lower school. Ava has allowed her passion for writing to flourish by writing diligently in her free time, and most recently, by competing in writing contests across the country. In March, Ava won the American Mother's Writing Contest, where she answered the prompt, "What my mother means to me." As her confidence grew, Ava entered into the Rule of Law essay contest. She worked hard by writing drafts in the evenings, on weekends, and even over spring break. Her teachers and I truly believe that Ava can accomplish anything she sets her mind to. She is someone who cares deeply and compassionately and wants to be a true change agent of the world. We hope you enjoy hearing her read her Rule of Law essay.
Good morning. Thank you, Ms. Sosa, for that kind introduction, and thanks to the Third Circuit Court for sponsoring the contest. What the rule of law means to me. The clearest way to show what the rule of law means to us in everyday life is to recall what has happened when there is no rule of law, stated our former president, Dwight D. Eisenhower. The rule of law, established in Greece, is a concept dating as far back as 500 BCE. It was not widely embraced until 1215, when the Magna Carta was published in England. It was created to prevent chaos and to protect abuse by those in power, such as the king. The Magna Carta was a document consisting of rights and privileges, partly influencing the U.S. Constitution. The rule of law consists of four main ideas: accountability, justice, transparency, and equality before the law. These four pillars ensure that there is order and that disputes are decided fairly, not by wealth, social background, ethnicity, or personal connections. Without the rule of law, societies would be in chaos, but with the rule of law, societies would thrive. To me, the rule of law is the basis of living my everyday life safely and peacefully. It allows me to be confident that there are rules that protect me, and when those rules are applied, they will be applied fairly. For instance, during the pandemic, a rule was established at my school requiring that masks be worn indoors. This rule was implemented to protect everyone from contracting COVID-19. It was applied fairly despite people's social status, wealth, race, religion, or position at the school. If this rule was not created or followed, my school community would not have stayed as safe and healthy as it did. To our country, the rule of law stands as a basic element of our democracy. Without the rule of law, our democracy would collapse, chaos would prevail, and our country would fail to grow and thrive. The rule of law is especially important for a country as diverse as ours, since one of the only things that really connects us all is our dedication to ideas and the Constitution. For example, one foundation of democracy is fair elections. There are many rules that apply before, during, and after election. These ensure an election's accuracy and fairness. In our world, the rule of law stands as a basic factor of friendly and equitable relationships between countries. It sustains peace and creates allies among nations. When the rule of law is not followed, war breaks out and peace is at risk. The Ukrainian and Russian conflict demonstrates what can happen when there is no rule of law, when the rule of law is not followed. In conclusion, the rule of law promotes stable societies and growth in civilizations across the world. It is the foundation of a future full of opportunities and peace for all. As Dr. Martin Luther King once said, true peace is not merely the absence of tension. It is the presence of justice. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to invite any comments from my colleagues. Any comments from my colleagues? Judge Padova?
Thank you guys for coming this morning. And as I was listening to the introductions and to you guys who have worked so hard in writing the essays, what really came to me is what happens as time goes by. Those who are up here on the bench play a very, very big part in contributing to what our country looks like and acts like. We also are concerned from time to time with what's going to follow, who's going to follow. Well, I can assure you guys this morning that I'm satisfied that our country will be in the very best of hands. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, no, it's a joy, to listen to your words and to know how those words were created in your classroom, with your teachers, your parents, and attorneys who were often part of the guiding part of your creative process. That's how we created in the Third Circuit program the essay contest. We wanted the blending of the students, the schools and their teachers, the parents, the community, and the attorneys and judges. It all comes together with the final product. And I am very, very thrilled to listen to your words and the meaning behind it. And just to pick up on the last essay, the winning essay, because there were many, many, many essays submitted across the Third Circuit, and many just in this district alone. And that's what we have the winners here for today, this district. But we worked very hard to get it to this point. And what is this point? It's justice. It's about justice. You're here in the hall of justice, the courtroom in the United States courthouse. We want, under the rule of law, for everyone to know, students, parents, community, lawyers, judges, that you come here for peaceful resolution of legal disputes. You come here for justice. And I agree with my colleague, Judge Padova, and every time I am involved in a civics education program, I feel the same way. Our country is in good hands if you are our future. Thank you very much for being here and doing what you've done.
Judge Reed.
Thank you, Chief Judge Sanchez. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you all, thank the students, the teachers, administrators, the parents, the lawyers that have supported the students, because this is the first time I've been able to participate in an event like this, and I am blown away by it. And I have not been on the bench much longer than Judge Carlos, so this is new to me. But I just wanted to say that what hit me is, one, how brilliant you all are. I participated on the committee to review these essays, and I read them all more than once. And I certainly read the finalists and the winning essay. And you're brilliant. And I don't just see children. I see doctors, lawyers, judges, you name it. You all can do whatever you want to do. And it's reflected not only in your speech, but in how you write. It also reflects how well schooled you are and how well raised you are. So I echo the sentiments of my colleagues that in a world where sometimes it doesn't feel like there's a lot of hope, there's a heck of a lot of hope in this room. And I appreciate feeling it. Lastly, I'll say this, that this is your courthouse too. I hope I see some of you or all of you on a visit to come learn about the court, to come learn about the people on the wall in these pictures, to come learn about the people that you're watching up here on the bench. Good luck to you all and congratulations once again. Thank you.
Judge Prater?
One additional thought, and that is to point out to the students how important it is that we judges hear you. Every so often, we need an extra little nudge that what we're doing is important. Clearly, we hope you've learned from this project, but we've learned from you too. You've given us the extra oomph that sometimes we need to feel good about what we're doing. And so I thank you, and we all thank you for that. Great.
Judge Marston?
I just want to add a thanks to everyone. I'm a former second grade teacher, though I did teach fifth grade for 1 year. So then I moved to second grade. But I was extremely impressed with these essays and the way you stood in front of the audience and presented your essays. It was extremely well done. I see exactly what Ms. Sherman was saying, that you felt a little under pressure in terms of how well you spoke to the audience. Judge Reed is correct. You all have very bright futures ahead of you. And what I see is that you will all make a difference in society. And that's really, really important. So strive every day to continue learning and growing and making a difference, because you're doing that right now, and it's really important. Thank you.
Richard?
Thank you all. It's wonderful to see kids in school doing something so wonderful like this. I didn't have a chance to do something like this when I was in school. I was in difficult circumstances in school. But it encourages me greatly to see the kids doing such great work at an early age and thinking about the issues that make our society a good place to live and what makes for a good society at an early age. That certainly wasn't my experience. I was in a survival mode in school. So I'm glad for you. You have a wonderful opportunity to be in a good school and a good education with good people who teach you well. So take advantage of it. Thanks.
Okay. I'm to give some concluding remarks, and I don't think I could top any of the comments in the essays that you read to us. And I don't think I could top the comments of my colleagues with regards to how wonderful you have been in the preparation and your hard work in terms of putting these essays about what the rule of law means to you. And also the great understanding and engagement and participation. So this is really about you and your future. And as my colleague, Judge Padova has said, I feel extraordinarily proud and confident that this country is in good hands. So thank you. And at this point, that will conclude our program. We will come down. My colleagues, some of us will come down and be available to you to shake your hands and to take photographs if you wish. If you wish, you don't have to. And also, immediately outside the ceremonial courtroom, we have refreshments for you. So let me ask my colleagues to join me and give you a standing ovation.
Yeah, 18.
Oh, I